Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to be playing through one of the verse scenarios in The Mandalorian Adventures. This is a game by Unexpected Games. It is a 1 to 4 player game that takes roughly 30 to 60 minutes to play per scenario, and is a fully cooperative game where all the players are working together to accomplish the goals of the mission. Now, some missions can also include a traitor, so not always are players working together, or secretly one player could be working against the other players. But in this one, I'm going to be playing the fully cooperative first scenario in this. So this one's just kind of teaching you how to play the scenario, and it will hopefully be not too challenging, but we will see. Now, throughout the video, I am going to be explaining some of the things. This isn't a full teaching video, but I will try to cover most of the rules in this in a quick format so that you, if you're playing along, you can hopefully learn all these different rules and be able to jump into the game yourself. So as always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button, subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow, build to produce this content. If you want to get notified anytime I drop new videos, as I'm constantly dropping new playthrough videos, crowdfunding videos, teaching videos, and others, hit that notification bell and that'll let you know whenever I drop new stuff. So let's go ahead and head to the table and we'll see how this one plays. Alright, so moving into the game, there is a couple of things that I have to handle for setup real quick. So first off, I already handled the disrupt tokens, so you gather the 5 white bordered disrupt tokens, shuffle those up, and randomly place those out in the different spots on the board. And in later scenarios, there will be a 5th spot, so you will be using all of those tokens. In this scenario, there's not, so the extra token is going to be shuffled into the rest of the disrupt tokens, and these may come out at later points during the game. Now, this first scenario, from the playthrough that I did, I never used any of these, so I think those are going to be cards that will be added to the event deck in later times, as you're going to have a guide deck that is going to slowly introduce and tell you what's going on and give you new cards and all that good stuff. So from there, then, I do have to shuffle up my circle enemy cards, and these are going to be placed out randomly, and there's going to be a couple of tokens in here that are going to help me unlock the door on the map, and then there's also a healing token, so maybe I'll be able to find some of those as well. So I'll place these out, and these are going to go in each one of the spots that has the marker with the question mark, and these are going to go face down. Now, the other enemies that are listed will show you the icon and where to place it, and if it doesn't have the question mark, then it'll be face up. So other than that, there aren't any other things to handle for setup. This particular scenario is going to be using the 2 characters, the Mandalorian and the IG-11, and my objective is to capture the assets, a character in the asset space found on the triangle threat at the end of any player's turn. So one of these is going to be the asset, so our characters are going to have to make their way into this building, which again, this door is currently locked, and I'll need to find those 2 markers to open that door. So from there, then, it moves into the game itself, and during the game, each player is going to take a turn, starting with whichever player you've chosen to be the first player. That player is going to, or must, play 2 cards from that player's hand, choosing different actions to perform. So you can never do the same action twice using cards. Now, there are certain ways of getting bonus actions or free actions, and in those situations, you are able to do an action again. But anytime you're placing cards, it has to be a different action than an action you played. Once you've performed your 2 actions, at that point, then you're going to go through and check each one of the stacks to determine if the value on the stack, the cards that are there, plus any disrupt tokens, equals 5 or more. If it equals 5, you're going to draw and resolve an event card, and then all of those tokens and cards are going to be discarded to their respective piles. If it is 6 or higher in this mission situation, then it is also going to trigger a crisis, and you're going to have to resolve the crisis, which is going to have you placing a damage token here. And when there are 3 damage tokens on here, you're going to spawn 1 reinforcement into one of the spaces that has the star in it. So that can really speed up the game or do some serious damage to the players. So as players, not only are we going to have to make choices on actions that we want to perform, but also when to perform certain actions, potentially throwing them over that mark where you're going to have events to handle and all that good stuff. Once you've completed that step of the turn, and in certain turns, you may not trigger any of those, which is okay. Then you're going to move into the final step, which is going to be drawing back up to your hand of 4 cards. And I am going to be playing the normal difficulty in this. There is a novice difficulty that will have you get, each one of the characters has extra hit points. And there is a veteran mode as well, which is going to make it even harder, where you're only going to have 3 cards in your hand at any time, or during to draw back up. All right, so jumping into the game, let's go ahead and start. And I'll have IG-11 start us off here. So IG-11, again, is going to choose 2 cards. So I have a 1 power card. So each one of these cards is going to list the power that it's going to add to that area, and that also will have effects on the area itself. And then some of them also have an ability that can be triggered if you play it in the right slot, depending upon what that is. So for example, with dual blasters, this one is an attack. I can perform this action, split the damage as you choose between 2 threats within range 1. So as long as I use this as an attack, as I can use this in a different area, it just won't count, or I won't be able to use the ability unless I do an attack. Same with this one would go into intel. And if it goes into intel, then I can carry out the effect on the bottom of the card. Okay, so let's see here. I can play this to heal 1 damage to any character that has 2 or less, which I don't have currently, but it does let me do a plan. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll do that into the planning thing. So this lets me draw a number of cards equal to the power level of the card I played, and I can keep 1 and play, and I may place 1 on top of the deck and discard the others. So this one, I only played a 1, so I have to take the top card, and unfortunately it is bad luck, so I do not get anything out of that, so that'll simply be discarded. All right, so then that was my first action. I must perform a second action, so let's see, what do I want to do here? All right, so I think I will go ahead and do a move action. Well, let's go ahead and gather some intel. So I can place this in here. So it lets me secretly look at a face-down threat within range, or choose an enemy within that range to move 1 space. So I am 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces away from 1, 2, 3, 4 from those 2 objectives. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. So normally this is only going to be revealed by the player that is doing this, and then he can talk about it, but doesn't have to. Okay, so I do need to go into that space because that is one of the terminals that I'll need to open up the door. All right, so that was my 2 actions. That is going to end that part of my turn. So from there, then again, I'm going to cycle through, and this one does have a total of 5 between the card and the token. So with it being just 5, I'll have to handle a event. So this one is pinned down your space. So I'm going to have one of these enemies go into my space. That's not good. And then one gun enemy is going to attack within range 2. All right, so it's just going to be him. So he's going to deal 1 damage to me. All right, and that is that card. All right, so from there, then I'm going to draw back up to my hand size. So I'll just go ahead and keep these face up. And that is my turn. So now it's going to move over to the other player to take a turn. All right, so with the Mandalorian, well, he's got that guy right there. And I don't really want that, so I'm going to go ahead and play an attack 4, or a 4 power in the attack slot. This is going to deal number damage to a threat within range 1. He is within range 1, so I'm going to go ahead and take him out. And then I'll play the Baskor armor. This one is I'm going to play it in the plan, and this one says, instead of performing this action, search the plan deck and discard pile for 1 defend card and take it, and then I can place that, or then shuffle the deck afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to go ahead and take a defend card. So this card lets me, when you are dealt damage, discard this to block 1 damage. And since I took it from the bottom, I don't necessarily need to shuffle that deck. All right, so then again, I'm going to cycle through checking for these different things. So for the attack, there is 6 or more there, so I have to handle the crisis. So I did that, and then I'm going to reveal a card. All right, this is an assault. This is going to first activate one enemy that has melee, and it's going to move them 3 spaces. So this guy is the closest to me, so I'm going to go ahead and handle him. 1, 2, and 3. And then it's going to have one enemy that is either a sharpshooter or a ranged enemy attack at range 2. So we're out of range of all the enemies that have the ranged attack at this point, so nothing is going to happen with that. Now, in a situation where you cannot do anything on a card, it is going to instead spawn an enemy in one of the star spots. So luckily, the one enemy was able to move, and that is going to be the end of my turn. So again, this is going to be discarded. So I'll add this over here to his side for this card. This will be added there, and I'll draw 2 new cards. All right. Now there are going to be some cards that are going to have a little icon underneath the number. Now those, if you play that in that slot, then you get a bonus +1 to whatever the effect is. So normally this card is a 1. If I play it in the attack slot, it's actually going to count as a 2. But when determining the number in the slot, it is only going to be 1 as well. So that's kind of nice to go along with that. Okay, back over to the IG. Let's see what he's going to do now. So I did take that 1 damage, unfortunately. And let's see, he's 1, 2. Okay. So all right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a move action, and I'm not going to be able to carry out the effect of that due to the fact that I'm not playing it as an intel. Ooh, wait a minute. I overshot this, and I forgot to handle that. So that would have been his thing. So this would have actually gone away. I kind of messed that up. And then, so this is going to be the second, or the card for the Mandalorian. So this one is Surgical Strike. This is going to have 2 of the sharpshooter enemies attack at range 3. After an enemy attacks, move it 1 space away from the nearest player. So 1, 2, 3. So this one's going to hit the Mandalorian. I'm going to go ahead and play that defend card to soak that damage. And then he moves 1 space away. And then the other one, there's nobody else that's at range that's close enough to target that, or to carry that out, as the other sharpshooters here, and then there's 1 there, and that's it. All right, so that will just handle that. So luckily, I didn't mess that up too bad. All right, so now I can move into the IG's turn. So that changes what I was going to do. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move 2 spaces. So I'm going to go 1 and 2. And then I will go ahead and play this 1 attack card here. So this enemy only has 1 health, so that's going to take him out. All right, and that is everything I can do there. So again, this is going to equal, the movement value is going to kick off. I think I forgot to remove that last time. Yes, I did, because that has 3 of these have triggered now as the 3rd card. So that should have gone as well. So I apologize for that. I'm starting off early, not so good here. Okay, so at this point now, looking at each one of these, none of them are over 5. So that is going to handle that. And we'll draw 2 new cards. And hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit better here moving forward and not make so many mistakes. All right, back over to the Mandalorian. So the Mandalorian, I'm going to go ahead and do that attack here. So this is a 1, plus it is an attack slot, so it's going to do 2, and that will take him out. So that's good. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a move. Well, do I want to do that? I'm going to go ahead and play it here instead. And that lets me draw 2 cards, choosing potentially, or gaining 1. All right, so I have a bad luck and a strategize. This one lets, during my turn, I can discard this to draw 2 skill cards and or perform 1 additional action this turn. Okay. So, I guess the question is, do I want to do anything else? That is going to trigger that one, so I'm going to have to handle that. And I could play that for an additional action. I could do the move. Sure, let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and spend that right away, and that'll let me perform an additional action. So when performing an additional action, I cannot choose an action again that I played cards in already this turn. So all I have left is either an intel or a move action. So I'm going to go ahead and do a move action, and I'm going to go ahead and move 1, 2. And the question is, I don't want to go necessarily here because he does have an ability that anytime you move into a space that is adjacent to him, he does you a damage. So I don't think I want to do that. I could move into here and make my way up from there, or I could just hold. I don't know if I really want to suffer the damage, but I do need to go into that space because of the door panel. I think I'm going to hold. All right, so now I have to handle this. So first off, this one has 5, so I'm going to handle a card. So this is an engage. It's going to have 1 melee enemy move 3 spaces. So the only melee enemy out right now is this guy here. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3. And then a enemy that has the ranged is going to move 2. So he'll go 1, 2, and then same with a sharpshooter enemy that he's going to move 1. Well, I'm going to go ahead and move this guy here, and then hopefully that will be okay. All right, so that is this one here. Next, the attack only has 2, intel has nothing, and plan has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so plan is also going to trigger, so I'm going to go ahead and discard those real quick. And that has another event. So this one is an ambush. So this is going to place one of these in the nearest star space. So that'll go there. And then a sharpshooter enemy at range 3, up to range 3, is going to deal damage. So it's going to be that guy there, as he's close enough to hit me. So I'm going to take 1 for that. All right, and that is that turn. All right, back over to IG. Let's see. What does he want to do? So, all right, so I'm going to start with drawing their fire. So this one lets me perform a move action. I'll deal myself 1 damage to deal 2 damage to a threat within range 1. Use this before resolving enemy abilities. So I'm going to go ahead and carry out the move action. So I'm going to move 1, 2. This is going to flip him over. Oh. Well, unfortunately, it's only 2 damage. So even if I do it to that guy, it's not going to eliminate him. So I'm going to take the damage and take this guy out here. And since I moved into his space, he's going to deal damage to me at the end of my move. So unfortunately, that's that. And I will go ahead and do this here to take him out. All right, so that takes care of that guy. All right, that is my turn. Unfortunately, I did trigger this again, so I have another event coming up. So this one is going to have 2 guys with the pistols move 1 space. All right. So this guy will move into his space. And this guy here will move up 2 and hit each one of them for 1. And neither one of my guys has any defense, so not good at all. All right, so back over to the Mandalorian. Oh, and these get cleared. All right, so those 2 are IGs. Mandalorian. All right, and I forgot to draw. All right, so our characters are taking a little bit of a beating here. All right, so I'm going to start with an attack action. And I'm going to take this guy out here. So he's going to go there. And then all right, and then I will do sneak attack. So this one lets me, has a move keyword. It lets me deal 2 damage to enemy in your space. Use this before resolving enemy abilities. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guy out here. And then I'm going to move 2 spaces into this space with that. And I will be able to handle that. So it says bunker access. During your action step, you may take a door control feature found on the circle threats from your space and place it below. The door is unlocked when both tokens are here. All right, so that'll take care of my turn. And I have 4 there and just 1 there, so I will not have to resolve any events, so that's good. And then it's back over to IG. I forgot to draw 2 cards for him. All right, so IG is there, and I definitely want to attack this guy and take him out before anything else happens there. And I will go ahead and play this in the plan. So that lets me draw 3. And then I will get to keep 1 and place 1 on top if I want to. So let's see what we have here. So 2 strategize and retaliate. Not what I was hoping for here, but I will go ahead and place the strategize on top. 1 gets discarded, and I will keep the retaliate. So at least I get to do a little bit of damage, but hopefully I'll be able to live through this. All right, so that is my turn, so I get draw back up. All right, so back over to Mandalorian here. Let's see, how do I want to handle this? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one here. So this lets me secretly look at a face-down threat within range 4, or choose an enemy within range 4 to move 1 space. And as an intel, which I am playing it as, I can move 1 space ignoring enemy abilities. So I move here, and I don't have to worry about him hitting me. So that's a plus. Okay, and then I do get to do that thing. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this one here, and it's the other door. Wow, that was really fortunate. All right, so I know where my 2 door cards are, or tokens, and that means that one of these is a health token as well. So hopefully we can find that pretty quick here. All right, and then what else do I want to do? I don't really want to trigger another thing, but I don't think I have a way around it here, unfortunately. No matter what I do, somebody's going to do something. All right, so it's going to be that card's going to focus on that guy as it has that icon on there. So at least it'll hopefully be going after Mando. So that's not terrible. Fortunately, if I was in his space, I have this great flamethrower that would be able to do some damage. Fortunately, I am not. Or I could go for broke here and try to get the plan, but that's going to drop another enemy in there, so I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's going to let me do two damage to an enemy within range 1. So I'm going to take out this guy because he is one that's going to be able to sit up there and just cause problems for me. So that is that. From there, then again, I'll check my things. So the attack one is going to go off. So those 2 will go there. That's going to kick over to him. This is going to be drawn. And this is all of the melee enemies move 2 spaces. or up to 2. So he's going to move into my space, and then up to 2 melee enemies are going to attack at range 0. So he is in my space. So he's going to hit me for 1. I'll convert this over to a 3. All right, so I've been able to manage somewhat, but my guys are taking some damage here. All right, so I have, there's that, and then these have to be shuffled as I don't have any more to draw. Maybe I'll get that Baskor armor again. What do we got here? So not what I was looking for. All right, so now it's back to IG. IG, still need to get that other one. So, all right, and then the thing, I don't know what it is. All right. All right, so I'm going to play that into here. So that lets me look at 2 cards. So I know the one's retaliates, or strategize. Oh, and the other one is retaliate. So I'll go ahead and take the strategize. And the question is, I could spend that to draw 2 more cards. I think I will. I really would like to get that healing one if possible here. All right, so I'll take those 2, not, again, what I was looking for. All right, so what do I want to do? All right, so I really need to move 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to throw me over. All right, I can handle it though, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is my 2 actions. All right, that means I won't get to draw this turn as I still have 4 cards. All right, so now I'm going to handle this. So this is going to kick off, and I'm going to add a token because it was over 6 or over, and then this is going to be drawn. So the first off, the nearest, I'm going to spawn a guy in the nearest one, so that'll be here. And then I'm going to spawn one in the other one. Ooh, so 2 more big enemies are going to drop. That's not good. All right, so I've got some seriously big enemies out there right now. All right, what do I want to do here? All right, so I'm going to take him out with that one. And then I would like to move, but I gotta be careful here. All right, I already did the attack, so I can't play that. So I could move. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Hopefully this is not terrible. Okay, so it's the healing one. I really kind of need it on IG, but IG does have his own card that can heal him. So I think I will take it on the Mandalorian. So that's going to heal him by 1. And that gets discarded. Let me double check that just to make sure that is correct. Okay, yep. So it's simply just discarded to heal 1 damage. So I took care of that. Those are my 2 actions, and again, that's it. I'm still okay. I did not trigger anything there, so I'll go ahead and draw 2 cards. All right, now it's back over to IG. All right, so I'm going to do a move action to move into here. So that's going to get me that, and that will open up the door. So I've handled that at least. And I don't think there's any way around it. Unfortunately, I have all 4s at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that there. And I'm going to draw 3. Hopefully I'll get a defense. Keep myself around a little longer. All right, so I got the bad luck, so that'll be discarded. A retaliate and a strategize. I got another one. All right, so I'll drop that there. All the defends are at the bottom of the deck, apparently. And then it's going to be another melee guy. That's not good. So I think that's going to be it. I'll hold on to those for the moment. All right, so those are all fine. This one is going to kick over. So that's going to place the third one out, which is going to clear this and add another enemy to the pile. Oh, no, it's another melee guy. All right. Remove them and spawn one reinforcement space with the fewest enemies. So it is a tie, so I am gonna throw them down here because I get to choose then. All right, that is the crisis, and then I'll clear these. All 3 of these are his, and I'll draw a card. All right, so this one is all are going to move 3 spaces, and then 1 is going to attack at range 0. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, so they're both in there. One is going to hit me for 1 point of damage. Oh boy, I'm up to 5. I'm going to retaliate though. So after an enemy deals damage, even if you block it, discard this to deal 2 damage to that enemy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll add 2, 2. I'll do it to that guy there. All right. That is my turn, so I draw a 2. And still not the healing one. Oh my goodness, I got 2 cards left. This is nail biting here for IG. All right, so Mandalorian. All right, so Mando, what are you gonna do here? All right, so it is a question mark. So I'm gonna move 1 to get there. And I'll do 1 there to do 4 damage to this guy, taking him out. Okay. All right, so that's not going to kick that over. That is going to put me over here, so I'll add 1 back here. And then I do have a card, so deal 1 damage to any character. All right, so definitely Mando's going to take that. All right, so that's managing there. All right, and then I draw back up. Okay, so not terrible so far. All right, back over to IG. I am going to spend this to draw 2 cards. So my last 2 are here. Okay, so I got my emergency repair. So I have to play that in the planning. So this lets me gain a card. All right, so I have the retaliate back, and this one says that I can heal 1 damage from any character in your space that has 2 or less remaining health, even yourself. So definitely going to do that. So at least I got a couple of hit points back. And then he is a 3. So I'll go ahead and play that and take him out. All right. So it buys me a little bit of cushioning there. All right, so I'm not going to draw anything. And then, all right, so that's got to be another enemy then. So I don't want to mess with that. So that is over to Mando to go. All right, so Mando, what are you gonna do here? All right, so I'm gonna play that in planning to get 2 cards. All right, let's see what I find here. So I have defend and retaliate. So I definitely want the defend and retaliate. I'm gonna go ahead and discard. And that way, then maybe the IG will be able to get another one. All right, so I have to play another card. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this one, ambush. And that is going to, I'm going to, instead of doing it, I'm going to do its ability. So it says, instead of performing this action, deal 3 damage to a threat exactly 3 spaces away. 1, 2, 3, or range 3. So I'm going to take this guy out. All right, so that is my turn. So from there, then it is going to add 1 to the crisis. And then this is going to be triggered. So those will go away. And then I also have a card. All right, so this event, flip the nearest face-down threat face up, not through locked doors. So this guy is going to come up then. Okay. All right. That is all of that. So again, it bounces over to IG. All right, so IG, what are you going to do? All right. So I think just like in the show, I'm going to go ahead and run for it for the IG. He's going to see if he can find the asset first. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And, oh no, he found a guy. That's not good. All right, and he does end in his space. Oh no, he took another damage, but I could retaliate. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to retaliate, doing 2 damage back. My last action, I will go ahead and do that, which is going to do 1 damage to this guy and take him out. All right, so I'm hanging on by a thread here. It is going to spawn another enemy. So that's going to clear, and this guy's going to drop. And then we have a card. All right, so, and I did spend that. So this one is the nearest enemy moves 1 space towards you, then if it is in your space, it attacks you. Closest enemy would be one of those 2. So he would move in, but he cannot attack me. Yeah, if it is in your space, it attacks you. So I just barely survived that. If he would have been able to shoot, that would have been it for IG, and that would have been game for us. As if any player goes down, the game is over. All right. So now it's back over to Mandalorian. All right, so I'm going to do a plan to draw 2 cards. All right, so I got defend and no effect, or bad luck. So that one's going to be discarded, and I cannot take another defense, so I'll place that on top. Okay. And then from there, so that is going to trigger an event. So I'm going to do a move, 1, 2, and I have to stop in an enemy space, so I cannot do anything else. There, that is going to end my turn, so this gets shuffled up as I do have another one that I'm going to have to resolve here. Thanks to my intel, or planning. All right. So with that, it's going to take care of this one here. So, and then the card. All right. So it's going to spawn 2 new enemies in there. So these 2 drop in. So not looking good. All right, so that's going to end his turn. This gets shuffled. All right, so we got to get to the asset here. I get 2 new cards. All right. So it's IG's turn, and I need more cards for IG as well. So IG is going to be stopped in that same space with that enemy, so hopefully he can move in and take him out. I need a... It'd be great to get a 1. I don't know if I have another 1 card in here or not. All right, so there it is. All right, that works out really well. Well, kind of. right, so I can play the 1. Lets me move in at least. But I don't have a 3. Ooh, wait, no, I don't want to do that. Because if I do that, then he is across the door now. All right, so I'm going to have to do this. All right, let's not do that just yet. Let's do this one here. So that lets me draw 2. 1, 2. All right, so I do have the defend, so I definitely want that. All right, and I actually place the strategize back on top, and then let's go ahead and do the blasters and take him out so that I clear the way for that. Actually, some of these are not for that. Okay. And then activation. So I do have this one here for the event. All right. So this one is going to have 2 of those which are in range 2. After enemy attacks, move it 1 space away from the nearest player. All right. So it's a surgical strike. Even though those doors are unlocked now, I don't think it can fire through the doors. Let me double check that. All right, so it can go through doors. All right, so I think that each will take 1. And I'll use the 2 defends to stop the damage, and then each enemy moves 1 space away. All right, so that takes care of that. And that was IG's turn. Now it's back over to Mando. All right. So I gotta do 2 actions. And I just have to make it through that. Okay, so what I can do is if they can attack me, I can attack them. So I'll take this guy out. And then I'm going to move 1 space, keeping me within that area. And I found the asset. All right, so I have to make it through the entire turn. So at this point, then again, with me doing the 2 actions, I'll check, and I am not over on any of those. And so then I would draw back up, and that is going to end my turn at that point. So now I have met the conditions, as it does say a character in the asset space found on the triangle threat at the end of any player's turn is going to take care of that. So I was able to make it through the scenario, and the Mandalorian was able to claim the asset. Well, that was a close one, and the Mandalorian was able to claim the asset, but I just barely made it through there with IG, and that one card, I was really worried. I thought I went down there for a second, but luckily they had to be in my space to be able to do damage, and I was able to find that defense card that saved me in the end, and so just barely made it through. Let me know in the comments down below if you noticed anything. I know I made a couple mistakes early on, but I think I corrected those, and everything worked out. But let me know if you saw anything else. I am just human. I do make mistakes, and I am just learning this one. But I am looking at probably doing another playthrough just because this is the very tip of the iceberg with this one, and there's a lot more in this adventure set. One thing I did not handle yet is on the guide deck. So this one says, after you complete your first game, win or lose, flip this card and follow the instructions. So after the first game, congratulations on completing your first game. Add the following 13 cards to the guide deck to your game. These cards are used in all future games, even if they refer to components not used in every mission, such as the child. So there's 2 rule cards. These describe new game rules. Read both sides of the cards out loud. And then there's 8 skill cards and 3 event cards. Oh, so there's some new event cards coming into play now. And they're going to be added to their matching decks. All right, so that is that. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see anything else around this, if you'd like to see a full teaching video, or if you have any other questions or anything. I love hearing from you and starting a conversation. And until next time, I'll see you later.